Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the PHNX Rising Show, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Got Max Simpson in the house. Can't talk today. I'm so excited. And Ramon Chavez, ready to talk some Phoenix Rising today. Thank you so much for joining us. Max, how are you, man? Haven't seen you in a minute.
I'm doing great because we are presented by DraftKings, the #1 sportsbook.
That's right.
App. You're darn tune we are. I'm
That's
doing
right.
fantastic. I'm in my bad birdie. I got OGs on me. You already know I'm ready to go.
Look at him.
Partners and advertisers aside, but no, I'm psyched. Schedule is out. We have a lot to talk about with Rising, with a bunch of other things. But dude, I'm pumped. Let's go.
Yeah, should be great. Fantastic show for you today. We're going to talk about that calendar and all the dates that you should be looking forward to. We're going to let you know as well what games we're looking forward to as well, and how excited we should be for this season, man. I'm pumped, man. All these new signings, all these new stuff that's going on with the league, I'm ready for it. And then, of course, we got to talk some U.S. men's national team drama.
Oh, my God. We thought the plot was pretty thick last week, and it has thickened in the last week before, man.
Those script writers are busy, man, coming up with all these storylines.
I don't even know. I don't think they could have planned this stuff. This is a heck of a drama.
Oh, it sounds insane, but we're definitely going to touch on that. And, of course, there was an announcement earlier this week regarding Gareth Bale, so we're going to touch on that before we wrap up today. Before we get started, though, I do want to shout out Michael. I ran into him at a bar last week, and he was nice enough to get me a beer. So shout out to Mike. Michael here, great guy over there, and I saw him get down, man. He has some moves for sure. So shout out to him.
Man, you guys sticking together, I guess.
That's true. We got to stick together for sure. We're gonna talk about Man U too, by the way, because I've been really happy this week with their performances. But all right, Max, let's get going. Let's talk about what's going on with this calendar drop. The 2023 season is opening up fairly soon. We got, we first got like the openers and then the first home game for Rising. So we got that information a little bit earlier on. But this is gonna be an insane season, man. It's gonna be a new look for sure. Yeah. Some teams, the reserve teams for MLS are now going to MLS Next Pro. So it's gonna be a little bit of a smaller league, 24 teams this time around instead of the 27 that we had last year. Do you think that's really going to affect how things are going with the USL Championship?
I think in the grand scheme of things, no. I feel for the teams who are no longer in the the top level, but from like Rising standpoint, I don't think it's going to be too much different that those extra 3 teams aren't going to be in it. I do like I like how the schedule is laid out from like a league perspective, how, on the West side, you get the home and away, you get the mix in with the interconference opponents. I'm really a fan of it. And I know we're going to go through the schedule, but there's a couple stretches this season that are super interesting.
Yeah.
But I think my overall thoughts are, I like how they seem pretty fair of when Rising was on the road. They kind of try to keep them on the coast or wherever they're at for at least a decent stretch. It's not like, boom, you're away on the West Coast, you're then going away on the East Coast. Like there's a nice bit of play. And I think we're looking at the schedule right now. They only have at most 2 games in a row where it's either like home or away. There's not like a 3-game home stretch or a 3 away stretch. And to me, that's actually like kind of one of the differences that we haven't really seen in recent seasons before.
Yeah, I think the schedulers did a really great job. And to your point, because if Rising is on a road trip, I'm not sure how it lined up for other teams, but at least with Rising, if you're in North California and you're playing Sacramento, they scheduled a game 3 days later with Monterey Bay. So it's not that huge of a distance. You can kind of hang around the Northern California area, and it's not more expenses for the team. And I really appreciate that the schedulers over there at USL did that. But we're going to go over that in a little bit. But some other news here as far as, so the league, 24 teams, it's going to be split up into a balanced 12 and 12 Eastern and Western Conference. They're going to be playing 34 games, and it will be starting on March 11th, and the season will run all the way until October 14th, or the regular season. And then after that, that's when the playoffs begin. Yeah. So some new changes there. There's also going to be a single elimination format, and it's returning to a fixed bracket format. And the championship finals should be somewhere between November 9th and 13th. I can't talk today.
You good.
But yeah, so start making plans, and that's why we're here to congregate, to kind of, lay it out, because we're going to be busy, man. Like last year when it was my first year covering the team, and when the season got rolling, man, there's like news. We got game, we got a midweek game, injury news. Like, it's nonstop, and it's just, from March. I mean, even now we're already talking about it until November, and then you get a little bit of a break, and then you're right back at it.
Yeah, well, plus like preseason, like February, there's gonna be like still more signings. Like, it's crazy that this is quote unquote the slow time of the year, and there's already so much to talk about. It's exciting.
For sure. All right, well, let's get to the schedule. Check out the first game, and we already knew about this one. This one's going to be against the Charleston Battery. So if I looked at the stats correctly, this is the first time since 2014 that Phoenix Rising will be facing off against Charleston Battery away from home on March 11th. Do you like that, starting kind of not at home, but against an Eastern Conference opponent, getting to travel in that first game?
I do. I don't know why. Like, it's. I know because there's only so many games you play away, so many you play at home. I kind of like the idea, especially going into a new stadium, that you kind of have to work up to it. Yeah. And normally I would say no, especially a new stadium, honor that the right way with the first game being at home. I think it buys the team a bit of time, especially if we don't know if everything's going to be ready to go spick and span. And even if it is, gives you just a little bit more cushion to get things operationally dialed in. So I like it, especially going across the country. Like, that's a true test.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not going to be like a Monterey Bay situation like last year. They had to wait a very long time to get into their stadium. But, it's still going to take a little bit of time. But after that, you get San Diego back-to-back. How do you I like that, actually. Facing off San Diego early in the season, they're going to be a tough team regardless when you face them in the season. So getting them out of the way, I think it benefits Rising in a way.
Yeah, I know we're going to get into a little bit more about what some of our matchups to watch, but like, that's a teaser. That's a big one for me, is you're able to go head-to-head against an opponent who you know them very well. They're going through changes on their end, but like, they finished second in the West last year, and already seeing that you get to face them twice in back-to-back weeks in the away and then your home opener. I love that. I feel, seeing how this schedule is laid out, a lot of the other head-to-head matchups are very spaced out. So the fact that you get them twice that early on, like, man, again, very tough 3-game stretch, just especially for a team that's had a lot of transition.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of that home opener, that should happen fairly soon. Like you said, it's not going to be a Monterey Bay situation. And, I work next to the stadium site. So I've been seeing all the trucks coming in, hauling all the dirt, all the equipment that they need to put up that stadium. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that everything's done by April, by their home opener. And everybody can enjoy it, man. I think everyone's really looking forward to it. I know even Valley Metro was pumping it on their Twitter because they want people to use the public transportation. I know a lot of people are excited about that. Another method of transportation to enjoy these games and not having to use your car. We want to save the environment too. Course, I think everybody's on board with that. So if we can use public transportation, that works out for us as well. All right, let's take a look here. One thing I did want to mention. So looking back at last season, I know it's a completely different team, new head coach as well, but Rising, I felt like, got off to a really good start. March, April. May was when things kind of fell apart for this team. In that LA Galaxy 2 trip or game that they went, and they lost pretty badly. And I remember because that was my first away coverage game, and they lost so badly. So I remember vividly that I was there. But how important is this, like, month and a half to get this team going?
100%. Well, actually, I think we have a graphic of that. If Producer Lee can please hold that
Let's
up.
Put it up.
It's pretty crazy how. Yeah, that's the one. We got you. Yeah, I appreciate you. Yeah, it's kind of crazy how you see on there, right? The bolder ones are the away matches. The home ones are a bit lighter shaded. I mean, out of those first 7 games and 3 of the first 4, that's all away games, and that's going to test you immediately. And these are, some of these away games, you're traveling across the country. Even the home games, like where you're playing San Diego, you're going to know them pretty thoroughly since it's in back-to-back games. I think it's going to be a tough stretch just based off you're traveling far, you're acclimating to the new stadium. But here's the thing, and I'm seeing Thomas here in the chat saying, so 2 dubs before we even go home, I'm down. If you're able to turn it, this can be a narrative where you flip very quickly. But I'm looking at this right here. It's a tough stretch just based on the amount of travel you're logging.
Yeah, definitely. You have San Diego, you have Charleston Battery, who have the reigning coach of the year in Ben Turman, leading them now, Birmingham Legion. Monterey Bay, who finished the season really strongly last year. And then you have the defending champions, man.
Yeah. Well, and here's the interesting thing. It's like we're playing, all these opponents are on opposite ends of the spectrum in how they finished in the table last year. Like, again, last year's play doesn't dictate this year's play, but going in order out of those 7 matches, here's where every team placed in their conference last year. Charleston Battery, 12th in the East. Loyal, 2nd in the West. You got them back-to-back games. Birmingham Legion, 4th in the East. Monterey Bay, 12th in the West. San Antonio, 1st, won the whole dang thing. Loudoun United, 11th in the East. And then Tampa Bay, is in May. But all those opponents, they're either at the very top or the very bottom. So I don't know, man. Like, that really could go either way.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And honestly, we really never know how things are going to start off with teams. Sometimes start off the season very strongly, but then kind of lose it at the end. So we're gonna find out. We're gonna see what kind of team Juan Guerra has on at his disposal with these first few games. So we're definitely gonna take a look. You mentioned Tampa. That's gonna be in May 6th. That's always one that I like to kind of keep an eye on. Tampa Bay, one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. They've shown it for years. This one is gonna be away. That one's gonna be a tough one as well. So definitely keep an eye on that. Hartford Athletic will be coming into town on May 13th. And then you get Orange County and Las Vegas Lights at home. So an interesting stretch there in May. And then when you move over to June, you got Pittsburgh Riverhounds, Oakland Roots, Louisville City, New Mexico United, Oakland Roots. It's just that's when kind of like the schedule kind of compresses a little bit, especially towards the end of June when you have those 3 games in a week schedule. Those are absolutely killer. And you see that further on in the schedule as well.
Well, and it's tough because, every team is facing this, hey, we have games on a Wednesday, we have games, midweek, and that's something that everyone's going to have to deal with. And again, I keep on harping on last year's success or failure does not necessarily carry over to the next season. I mean, look at Rising going into last year. They literally were, again, projected to be do very well, and look how they finished. But kind of just food for thought, these games in May or June, if you're looking at the current playoff format where you have all, the top 8 teams from each conference going in, out of these 9 games, only 3 of them, if you look at last year's finish, wouldn't have made this year's playoffs. So it's another very tough stretch. And again, a lot of away games clustered in there. I think it's one of those things where traditionally Rising, they've gotten off to a good start. And like you're saying, it's that May, that June, that kind of middle time frame that
those dog days of summer, man.
Yeah.
That's when it gets to them.
Here's the thing. I don't know. Maybe the Arizona Heat, even at, during the nighttime, helps out a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll see. I really am curious how the stadium atmosphere is going to go into play. Cause I really think like that new energy, new vibe, if you will, of that like experience, it's crazy. And I know we talk about the talent on the field. That can be a lot to these players and to these fans.
Yeah, and we saw it in some games last year where the stands were empty, half empty. You got the Bandidos that were always there supporting. But, the players do, keep an eye on this sort of stuff. So if they can pack that stadium even during those hot summer months, I think it's really going to push this team forward. So hopefully we get that. And this team gets all the support they need. Michael says, we always start slow, and we probably will this time too with the brand new team. Do you agree with that?
I think it's going to, with so many different moving parts and again, still more to be made. I think that this is something where you don't want to come out completely flat and, you look in the month of March and it's like, oh gosh, we're already behind the 8 ball. But I think it's going to take a while for this team to fully hit their stride and gel. And that's what we expected.
Yep.
It's kind of unrealistic for, I think, a coach going into his first full season to really have everything humming as quickly as we'd like. This is a different conversation if we're now in, let's say, May, June, and we're still kind of, okay, what are we doing here? But, give them time, especially a lot of those away games. Hopefully those home games picks it back up.
Yeah, for sure. Let's keep the ball rolling here with July. That's when you really kind of start finding out what's going on with this team. Playoff positioning, that's when you kind of start looking at where you're at. So some interesting games here. Memphis 901 at home on July 1st, and Miami FC. I'm sorry. They're a stickler for that one. Then you get a little bit of a break. I believe July 15th, that's when they have an off week. Or a bye week, and then Colorado Springs Switchbacks at home July 22nd, Sacramento Republic, Monterey Bay. And that's the kind of another stretch where you play on the 22nd, 26th, and 29th. So there are little clusters there where you're playing 3 games in a week. And I think that's when the depth of this team is really going to start showing, because you have to rotate. You can't be playing these guys 270 minutes in 1 week, because these guys are going to wear out. So.
No, for sure. And I mean, I'm looking in here, right? You see there's a stretch of back-to-back home games. But again, it's a lot of, hey, we're going to do 2 away games back-to-back. Notable here that other than Memphis, a lot of these you're not really going to states that are too far away from, bordering Arizona, right? So you got Colorado in there. You got 2 games against SAC, El Paso, San Antonio. Like, it's going to be tough competition, but at least on the travel end of things, especially when you have a couple Wednesday games in here, hopefully it's not too draining on the players at this point of the season. But again, I mean, you already at this point, you're more than half of your games are played.
Yeah, for sure. And let's finish off here with August 5th against San Antonio. That one's going to be at home. El Paso at home after that. Rio RGV away from home, and then Las Vegas, and then to round out August, Sacramento Republic. So I think this stretch is when you want to see the team rolling, making sure that they're at least in playoff contention. You don't want to be falling behind like they did last year, because when it's that uphill battle, man, it's just tough, man. You keep looking at other scores, you start worrying about what you're doing. If you fall behind during the game, you start putting all these scenarios in your head, I imagine, and it's just not a good place that you want to be. You kind of want to be humming along by that time.
For sure. And I also just realized that I read the last graphic wrong, where I put the away matches were home, but even regardless, I mean, the farthest one we're traveling. Yeah, I know. It's like, I was just squinting on that one. That's on me for not reading the key.
To be fair, like, you would think that dark would be home and gray would be away.
That was my complaint. I had the same thought.
Yes.
Like, why would they do that?
Graphic designers unite.
Why would they do that to us? No, but even looking at that, the farthest one is Miami, and again, everything there. It's Sacramento Republic. It's Monterey Bay. It's Rio Grande. It's Las Vegas. Like, it's. My point still actually ended up holding up, where you're only having one trip where it's not bordering the state. So, or I guess Texas doesn't border. I'm not a geography guy. That's
close. That's close.
Close enough. One hop away. But no, it's going to be really interesting, that stretch where how are guys performing that late in the season. And I know we're going to get into this next one, but like, you finish with a good stretch of home games.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take a look at September over here. RGV. FC Tulsa, it is confusing. You're right. Yeah, Black should have been in. I think I saw their social media, and red was the home game, so that made it a little bit easier. So maybe, I don't know.
This is straight from their website.
Nah,
that's true.
That's right.
Just saying.
Yes, I feel like it's one of, like, when the professors used to get like one piece of paper and just like scan it and make prints, and it would just like fade out.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I old? Am I
dating
myself?
I got you.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Oh wait. Where? You're old. I think you're older than me.
I'm a little bit older.
Yeah, it still holds up. She remembers. I remember because I'm in the middle. So
okay,
yes,
all right, cool. There were still chalkboards when I was going to school. I'm not that old, guys. Anyway, FC Tulsa, Detroit. That one's gonna be fun. I didn't put it on my ones to watch, but I know the Phoenix Rising Detroit rivalry is always a good time. Indy 11. So I didn't put this on my list to watch, but could Solomon Asante play in Phoenix again?
Oh, that'd be a draw in and of itself.
I didn't even think about it until I was looking at it.
Wow.
But I wonder how the reception would be. I'm sure it's going to be warm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it where it wouldn't be. Even if he left directly after rising to another USL team, unless it was in poor fashion, like, you got to appreciate what the guy's done. But especially since there was that gap where he didn't play for a rival right afterwards. I mean, all this guy has done, that would be a real treat, especially if I'm reading that correctly, that would be the third to last home game. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Nonchalant, 2-time MVP,
especially at that point. I mean, both teams could be fighting for a playoff position. Oh my.
Yeah, exactly. And that's actually a good segue to the last games of the season. So after Indy 11, you face off against El Paso away from home, Orange County at home, and then New Mexico United, and then to round out the season, Colorado Springs Switchback. So those last 4 games, if you're in that playoff battle and you've not already secured your spot, these are going to be insanely critical for them to be able to make the playoffs. I'm still in that mindset that they're not a number 1 or 2 or 3 seed right now. They're kind of in the middle of the pack, to the lower rung of the playoff teams. But this is when you're going to kind of determine your destiny, as far as, especially if it's a fixed bracket. There's no reseeding after the first round. This is when this is when you kind of have to make sure that you're ready to go, because otherwise it's going to be pretty tough.
Definitely. And a lot of those last opponents, again, if you're looking at last year, they're high finishes, teams that Rising is very familiar with. Seeing Mike's comment, the last month of the season is going to be rough. Yeah, I think it's one of those things. I'd rather play the enemy that I know versus the one I don't know. And outside of Indy 11 and Detroit, you got a lot of familiarity with a lot of these clubs. So a lot of them are at home, very curious. A lot of them, I think, I'd rather finish strong at home, especially with playoffs on the line. Yeah. So I think that does cater well for the team.
Yeah, for sure. And that's it. That's the entire calendar. Hopefully we add a few more games to that after the Colorado Spring Switchbacks. So that way they bring home the championship, man. We want to see some hardware over here. So that one's going to be fun. Before we move on to the games that we're most excited about, Max. Yeah. I do want to mention, I know Michael kind of touched on it in the chat, but there was a little bit of a leak with some of the schedules. There are some teams that are going to be stopping in the Valley of the Sun. We have Portland Timbers, Sporting Kansas City, Real Salt Lake, and Louisville City will be in Phoenix. So assuming from the leak that I saw from the Sporting Kansas City schedule release, there are going to be some preseason games. Hopefully, one that was confirmed was Sporting Kansas City. At least that's what it showed on the schedule. But Portland Timbers, Real Salt Lake, and Louisville City. So, are you excited to kind of, if they're able to face at least one or two of those teams besides Sporting Kansas City?
Hey man, soccer, football is football. Football is live. As my guy, right. Danny Rojas. Yes, I love it. Give me all of it. Like, we literally are on the nonstop void trying to fill it, even though there's always something going on. So it can't come soon enough. I'll take it all.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And just to let you guys know, February 18th is that when that game against Sporting Kansas City is supposed to take place. Again, this is just what was out there on Twitter. Nothing official coming from Rising, but that was what Sporting Kansas City put out. So we'll see. Louisville City, man, those are always fun games. They played in the preseason last year. The atmosphere was insane. I think Claudio Repetto had a goal disallowed in the last few minutes, and the atmosphere, you thought it was a playoff game against these guys. So I'm always looking forward to playing.
Whenever you're able to have iron sharpening iron with one of the best teams out there, give me it every time.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. BJ, do we have a U.S. Open Cup schedule yet? Nothing that I've heard. Maybe Owen has a little bit more information, but he should be back next week.
I think he's back next week.
Yeah. So he'll be back. He'll fill us in with the U.S. Open Cup. And then will those be in Phoenix or Tucson? Those were all listed in Phoenix. So the MLS teams will be here in Phoenix for a week or two, and then they're going to head off to Coachella. Not for Coachella, but for their preseason schedule. I want to go to Coachella this year. They got Bad Bunny headlining. Frank Ocean, too. Should be fun. Anyway, all right, Max. Let's talk about the games we're most looking forward to. Do you want to start off?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I alluded to it earlier. So the first one I have is those two matchups at San Diego Loyal. It's such a rarity in this new schedule, or really any schedule, where you play the same team back to back, and not only do you get an opponent that you know very well that has a bit of that feistiness, a bit of that grudge match, so to speak, but you get them for your home opener. And to do this in the second and third game of the season, I think that's freaking awesome. I've enjoyed the showdowns with Loyal, and this one, especially if we're able to secure 2 dubs. I think that's just a really great opportunity, especially to open. You had to open the stadium against someone who, you know very well, and there is that bit of intensity. And I love that we're opening against Loyal. Give me that all day. And then the other matchups that I have, it's the pair against Oakland, right? I mean, I think for a number of reasons, right? Big one for me being, I want to see how Juan Guerra's former team looks without him there. Mm-hmm. And, that may mean something, that may mean nothing, but I'm curious to see where they're at in the standings under a new regime without him and where we're at. But I think the big thing, too, is kind of similar to Loyal. I mean, what if I'm doing the math right? Loyal, that's separated by about 2 weeks. So is the Roots. There's a game or two in between, but you get to see that familiarity very, very close to back-to-back, and that's going to be a very pivotal matchup to watch. I'm very psyched for so many other matches, but those were the pair that stuck out to me. Yeah,
for sure. I know with San Diego, they don't have Landon Donovan anymore, so you can't really stick it to him while, if you beat him, but it's still always good to beat San Diego. It's a rival for sure. Cool. Let's move on to the next one on my end. So I had, let's start with the New Mexico one then. the reason New Mexico's there is because it should be the return of Santi Moore. All right, it's kind of exciting to kind of see the storyline build up because Santi Moore came to Rising from New Mexico, and now he went back to New Mexico. And something that kind of didn't irk me. I don't think that's the right word, but kind of I kind of gasped a little bit was the fact that during his the press release he said that he had the best moments of his career in New Mexico. So when you put that out there, you might stir some flames over here. But yeah, that one's gonna be a great game, and of course the return of Greg Hurst as well. So that should be an interesting matchup.
That's the last home match too, and that's crazy. I mean, think of the implications.
So
for
much
that
on
one
the
too.
line. Yeah, yep. October 7th will be that game. The next one, Louisville City. Like I said earlier, it's always a fun game playing against them. They're the best team in USL Championship when it comes to being consistent and getting to the finals. And Louisville City is the cream of the crop. That's the franchise model that all the other franchises want to be like. So when they're in town, it's going to be a rivalry game, whether they're even if they're not part of the Western Conference. So that one's going to be an exciting matchup for sure.
Absolutely.
And of course, June 24th, Oakland Roots away. I want to see how Juan Guerra is received over there in the Bay, because for him to leave in the middle of the season like he did, if I'm an Oakland Roots fan, I'm not very happy to see him back. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah. So exciting calendar here. Schedule of games 2023 should be an exciting matchup. Again, we'll keep you updated with everything that's going on. We don't really have definitive, I guess, preseason games yet, but we'll keep you updated as soon as we know something. That way we can see if they're open to the public. Sometimes they are open, and the fans can go and support the team, and we can take a look at the brand new look team for Phoenix. So should be fun. Whew. That was a lot. That was a lot. All right, y'all. I talked about Man U a little bit earlier in the show, but it's going to happen this weekend, man. Man U is going to beat Man City. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm waking up at 5 in the morning.
You're a brave man.
To watch that game. Not like the last time when I woke up at 5 in the morning and it was already 3-0 in the 20th minute. So this time's going to be different because Man U is on a roll. If you guys are looking to make some money, I implore you to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. And right now, Man U is plus 330 in that game against Man City. So if you take that, you might make some money, man.
Yeah.
You might make some money with DraftKings Sportsbook app. And I mean, I always make money with it. But, but if you guys haven't downloaded it, make sure to do so for this matchup and any other English Premier League matchups. NBA, I know the NFL's, ramping up for their playoffs as well. So it was a good time with the DraftKings Sportsbook app.
It's crazy, man. I mean, like you said, there's a lot of things going on also in the Premier League. I mean, shoot, we got Spurs, Arsenal in the North London Derby. You already know where you put your money on that. Plus Spurs at home. It's like you're practically trying to give it to you. Come on. Oh, you see that? Let him cook. Jadon Sancho? Oh, I don't know about that.
Hey, all we need is Rashford. Right now.
Anthony had a nice goal today.
He had a good one. I like that. So hopefully he can bring that. I don't know. Man City's always like crazy, man. They have so much depth. Like, if Mars is off, you got someone else coming in. You got Grealish coming on. It's just insane how much talent they have.
In so many scenarios where I've seen Man City play, they're putting minus money on Erling Haaland to be a goal scorer.
Oh,
like I've seen something crazy that was like minus 180 on him to score a goal. You know how hard it is to score a goal, and this man makes it look easy. He's going to obliterate the records. He's already on pace to have like 40 or something. It's crazy.
It's going to be insane.
Nuts.
Hopefully he doesn't score against Man U. I mean, if he can't, if he wants to, but at least Man U take the victory there. But we'll talk about the other football as well. It's wild card weekend with the NFL, and all new and existing customers can get a no sweat bet each day of the wild card round. This weekend, it's super wild card now, right? Or something like that. But just place any NFL bet of your choice, and if it loses, you'll get a free bet back up to $10. That's
free money.
Free money, baby.
That's free money. I'm not an economist, but that free bet back up to $10. That is a win-win or a no-lose situation. What are you doing? And that's for, let's say free, that's a new and existing.
Yep.
You're darn right it did.
Yep, that's right. So even if you have the app already, you haven't downloaded it, this is for you too, man. Yeah. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code PHNX. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL and get $200 in free bets instantly, and that's only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. With code PHNX, minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes for details.
It's going to be $200. That's a lot. That's a good offer. Plus the no sweat bet. Ooh.
It's too much. We're too good over here. You buy people shots and beers and all this stuff, and then we got
you often against my will and using out of context, but yes, sure.
No, I'm just saying, like we're
the
good.
shoey still. We're gonna bring that up later with the tea party, but yes, the shoey is still on board.
There you go, guys. Take advantage of it. It should be fun. Something else I take advantage of is Game Time, the Game Time app. Because look, man, I don't think I've seen an app like Game Time before. Because look, I like to go out to games, but sometimes it's not in the budget, right? But with Game Time, I always take a quick look. I look at my girlfriend. I say, "Hey, Suns tonight?" She's like, "Yup." Boom. We're at the game. All thanks to Game Time.
Especially how the way Suns are playing. You can get that for the cheap.
Yeah, the last 2 games I went to, they lost literally in the last minute. So not great. But what is great is Game Time because they hook you up to 60% off with those tickets. So last minute tickets. And once the season starts, you can use them with the Phoenix Rising as well. So take advantage of them. Right now we got NBA. I know the Super Bowl's here. I've seen the Super Bowl tickets. Take a look at that as well. ASU basketball, ASU hockey, all the good stuff that's going on right now. Coyotes as well. So always take a look at the Game Time.
Shout out Yotes. Yep.
Yotes.
Absolutely.
That's right.
I've been saying I need to get myself to a game, and I will.
I told Leah I was gonna try to go to a Coyotes game, but every time I swipe, I'm like, I don't know, man. This is
I will. And every time I do, and it's fair. She's like, she hasn't said it, but I know she's like, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed, and like I need to. I will.
That is fake news.
She hasn't said it. But I get it.
Owen went.
No, I'm not trying to call. I'm calling myself out. Like,
but you should go. It's a fun experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is a fun experience.
And Game Time is literally the cheapest place. And I always tell our Discord that's the cheapest place. Like, people are like, oh, I can't find tickets for under $100. And I say, let me show you Game Time.
Yes. Well, and plus, like, they do, it's really crazy how, like, I was literally watching ASU U of A, and the tickets were going down. Like, you wait like an hour before, it's something. Then it goes down to 45 minutes before, then 30, 20. After tip-off, the price was legitimately cut in half. It's awesome if you want to literally wait last minute. Big fan.
Yeah, insane. Yeah, great time. So make sure to download the Game Time app for sure. All right, let's talk about the U.S. men's national team here. I know you're very excited to talk about this because
oh my god,
it looks like it's a Netflix show with all the stuff that's going on.
It's kind of crazy how this saga started on Tuesday last week. Then we had our show, and then it was the next day, and everything happened. So it's honestly been a week since everything happened. But that was just right after our last show. So wow, like if you don't know what's going on, that's crazy because there's so much.
You want to give the recap from what we understand as a whole, or are you able to?
I will try to. I will try to summarize as best I can.
It all
like
started
60,
in Qatar 2022.
No, it started long before when Greg Berhalter and Claudio Reyna were roommates back. No, goodness. Okay. Essentially, Greg Berhalter and his then girlfriend, now wife, were dating. They were then involved in a domestic dispute where Greg Berhalter kicked his then girlfriend. They outside of a bar. They broke up and then they reconciled after 7 months. They have now been married and have 4 kids for like 25, 30 plus years. Like, so it's something that's very serious, but it's something that, they work through and they are like better people for it. Essentially during the World Cup, Gio Reyna, son of Claudio Reyna, was not getting much playing time. Essentially, it was like due to poor effort, poor attitude in training, everything like that. And he was told by Greg Berhalter, you're not going to get much playing time. He apologized to the team publicly. You thought that was that. He got a little bit of shine during against Wales and then against, I think he came on for a bit against England maybe, but he definitely played the second half in the Netherlands. So got a little bit more as the tournament went on. Not really a massive factor, but we're thinking like, okay, it happens. Greg Berhalter then comes out saying an anonymous player was benched during the tournament for poor play. He did not say a name, but turns out a leak confirmed it was Gio Reyna. Then afterwards, Gio Reyna's mom essentially was texting, one of the members of U.S. Soccer, who it's like, hey,
Ernie Stewart,
who the Reynas have a personal relationship with Ernie Stewart, as does Greg Berhalter. And essentially it's like, why would Greg say this about Gio when he didn't handle his situation, which was far worse 25 years ago? And Ernie Stewart is like, what's that now? And as essentially, I'm paraphrasing as best I can, but then Gio Reyna's mom starts talking about, well, this is what happened, and then it's like, what's going on? You then get a random tweet from Greg Berhalter, who creates a Twitter account being like, okay, someone's trying to blackmail me, gets ahead of it, here's what happens, bam. And then the report gets released the next day by saying U.S. Soccer is investigating this. It confirms that the Reynas talked to Ernie Stewart. And this entire thing unraveled in a span of like 24 hours, just out of absolutely nowhere. Like you see the tweet, you see the leak, you see everything happening, and you're just thinking, how does this happen when not only these aren't just two random guys, I'm pretty sure Claudio Reyna was Greg Berhalter's best man. They knew each other since like 19 years old. Their wives, who were both teammates at North Carolina, I believe, were teammates and best friends. Like, how does this happen? And these relationships and friendships are completely fractured.
Yeah.
Who knows what happens with Greg Berhalter's future, with Gio Reyna's future? I think if you want to try to play, I don't know, fortune teller, if you're just purely looking at on-field stuff, Gio Reyna, I mean, he'll be back in the team. Greg Berhalter, maybe not so much, again, for on-field stuff, but it's just so much drama when it's like, came out of absolutely nowhere, and I think it just muddied such a promising World Cup, even though the team got bounced, you got outplayed by Netherlands. Like, you think, oh, sky's the limit, there's a lot of good things to look forward to, and now it's just like, what's going on? Yeah,
it's unnecessary drama. And to kind of bring it back a little bit, and to BJ's point, Gio was told before the World Cup by Greg Berhalter, look, you're not going to play a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
As a player, there's two things you can do about it. You can accept the role and continue to work hard, or you can go and complain, which is what he did. Now, if I'm in Gio's shoes, I go to my parents and say, look, I'm not going to get a lot of playing time. I pout and whatever. But as a professional, you got to go out there and perform. And you got to be the professional in practice.
Well, no, for sure. And it's a situation of like a mama bear protecting her cub. It's like, you're not playing my son. Oh, you're going to come out. And even though you're not going to say his name, you're going to throw him under the bus. Like, I'll show you. And it's not the right response. It completely ended like so horribly and sadly. I think it's just, I just don't know how you reconcile a situation or even trying to put the pieces together. Because, like, to Mike's point, she tried to make him look like crap, and it went horribly. Yeah. The Raiders look horrible out of this. And, it does hurt Gio. And I'm curious, where do you do if you're in Gio's shoes? Because, you're seeing your parents act like this, and it's like, I mean, I know you're trying to defend me, but, like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way he had to ask for this.
No one's going to come out looking good about this. Yeah. If you guys have not read this article on The Ringer regarding this scandal, it's by Leander. I'm going to butcher his last name. I'm sorry. Sherlackens. He talks about how this is a symptom of how the U.S. men's national team is handled. And he goes to argue that a lot of the people in charge of the U.S. men's national team, they all come basically from the same tree, whether it's Bruce Arena, whether it's like Claudio Reyna and Greg Berhalter being part of the same team growing up. And he goes to argue that one of the reasons you get situations like this is that because the U.S. men's national team does not allow other people to be part of its system and its organization. And you can see that from Ernie Stewart being the technical director, Brian McBride, who was a longtime U.S. men's national team player, now being part, I believe, a general manager. So you have
Sidney Parlacone, U.S. women's national team player, now president.
Yep, exactly. So when you have all these people that have been in the system for years and generations, it goes from family to family, from mentors to mentees, and this kind of stuff happens, because it turns into drama. It's like you're fighting with a friend, basically. And when it comes to all the stuff and all these allegations that they have, this is stuff that was told in confidence, I'm assuming, and was not supposed to be, let out into the public like this. Because first of all, I don't think any of this stuff should have came out, first of all.
Absolutely.
But now Gio Reyna's mom comes out and doubles down on the allegation of domestic abuse, saying that it was worse than how Greg Berhalter portrayed it in his statement. Yeah. And why are you doing this? This is something she told to The Athletic in a follow-up interview. What do you gain from this? Are you gaining Gio Reyna more minutes? Are you gaining position? And take in mind, Claudio Reyna does also work for an MLS franchise, Austin. How does he look now? Using the power of nepotism and all this stuff to pull strings behind the scenes. It's not a good look, man, at all. No one looks great coming out of this.
No, I mean, and you got to. I mean, for the Berhalters reliving such a something they never wanted to relive. Like that's like I don't like that's absolutely the worst part of this. I mean, I think that it's very interesting how before 2018, U.S. soccer was very much had people in place who maybe they were like the businessmen, businesswomen who were like high executives ranking in these different organizations who they come from. You know, some of them were maybe from the soccer side, but a lot of them were like corporate America, you know how to run organizations, and that's that. After the failure of 2018, they're like, we got to get closer to the product. We want to bring in our own. We want to have players who have been there, done that, who can relate to the system, go grassroots level and everything we're doing. And that's awesome. But I think they went from one direction, very opposite, now to the other side of things where like very, very different. And there wasn't really that middle ground. And it's kind of that overcorrection for better or worse, where we're now seeing the bad side of it. And this is what we're left with. So I don't know where you go from here. I don't like,
do you bring Berhalter back? If he's the best candidate just due to what happened, do you bring him back?
I mean, I don't think you bring him back for like on-field reasons. Like that's the thing. Like this aside, I think this completely buries him. But I don't think you bring him back for on-field. My now question goes: Do you like not clean house maybe completely? But like, do you now start looking how does this, you know, like do we start removing some members who I'm not saying people perpetrate or anything like that, but like, did this get too close to home because of their relationships happen? So it's investigation's ongoing. There's still a lot we need to find out, but it kind of makes you think, do we need to overcorrect again? Especially knowing there's a chance we could hire a coach or the next manager for U.S. men's national team who might be not American, who might be outside the current like organization. So like that's a whole nother thing.
One other stat here, or I don't want to say stat, but note here from the article is that he goes to note that with the notable exception of Jurgen Klinsmann, all the U.S. men's national team head coaches have come from the New Jersey or New York area and have come or are former assistants of Bruce Arena.
Yeah.
That
wild.
just tells you everything.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, and it's crazy too, because I mean, a lot of people I understand were not fans of Jurgen Klinsmann, like maybe based on his tactics or lack thereof. And like, when you really think about it, he got them to a round of 16, which is what Bruce Arena did, what Bob Bradley did, stuff like that. Well, Bruce Arena went a little farther, but Bob Bradley, his predecessor, Jurgen Klinsmann's predecessor, went to the round of 16 as well. Jurgen Klinsmann, he was an outsider, and he brought in, like, he said, play the youth. We're going to look international. We're going to bring in dual nationals. And that, he was, you know, the first guy who was really like a true outsider since like 1994, the first World Cup. And he shook things up. And we're now still seeing those positive ramifications because of his work. So I think you go outside for a hire like this. But again, even just manager search aside, I feel you have to zoom out a bit when you're talking about the processes that happen within U.S. soccer on both sides, by the way, the women's national team as well. I know we haven't seen anything recently come out, but it's just like there's a lot of power that's centered within that organization that's a little too close to home.
Yeah, for sure. So again, this is an ongoing thing. We'll keep you updated if anything else comes about. There is an investigation ongoing into what's going on. So we'll keep you updated.
Yeah, I will also say real quick, Harry does bring up a point. This is part of the story with Sebastian Berhalter being cut or either cut or whatever the right move is from Austin FC, where Claudio Reyna is a part of that staff. Yeah, I mean, I don't.
That tells you more.
That's just another layer to. I'm not arguing Harry's point. That's just another layer to it. But it's still just like, bro, if that's even part of it, that's just so. It's petty. It's like it's just this weird back and forth. So it's gross.
Not good. Not a good look for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I know we're running out of time here, but I do want to touch on Brandon Vasquez. He's one of the players that missed out on going to the World Cup, one of the best forwards last year in MLS with FC Cincinnati. I tweeted about it today that he was asked today, and it's the preseason. He was asked if Mexico had approached them to play for their national team, and that's because Brandon Vasquez is able to play for the U.S. and Mexico. And he said that Mexico has not reached out at all. And, you know, I from when we were speaking before the show, Max, you seem like you're a fan of Brandon Vasquez.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure he's like a starting number 9 or something like that. And I get he's a bit on the older side. Was he 26, 27? I think 24,
actually, yeah.
Oh, my. Okay.
So a little bit younger,
wrong as heck. No, but I think they went so far in the youth movement that when you have a guy who really hit his stride a bit a bit late, I'm just surprised that he hasn't gotten a look really from the U.S. or from Mexico.
Even for a friendly.
And for a friendly, even anything to try to partially cap time, I just don't really get the logic. And now that, you know, you're assuming, you're hoping that from a U.S. perspective, he gets called in the January camp. But from, you know, both teams, you don't really have a number 9 who you can out and out rely on. I mean, Mexico, I get they all run with their veterans, but like you got to get younger in some aspect. It doesn't make sense to either of us. I think especially from Mexico's standpoint, because when the U.S., I feel they made it very clear he was never really part of it. I'm just surprised Mexico hasn't made a move because they really could use someone.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, they don't have a lot of a big crop of guys that they can call up, you know, as far as the forward position is concerned. You have Chicharito being 35, 36 years old. You can't rely on him anymore. There's nobody else, at least at that level right now. So why not call him up? Why not see if it works out, you know?
He may not fit the system, but like he's a guy who scores a lot of goals in, you know, like he had a stretch. Yeah, maybe he dropped off a bit, but I just don't get when he was hot.
Yeah,
why
19 goals, 8 assists. Why
he didn't get a look? And there was a stretch where, like, I swear he was scoring like every game, one out of every 2 games. Like, come on.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully either country calls him. He deserves an opportunity for sure. Sounds good. Let's pivot here for a quick second and talk about our friends at OG's. They got that new flavor, man. Have you tried it yet?
I have not. So their CBD THC was originally called the Ratio, but it's now a Happy Balance. Just some happy balance. Happy balance.
Do one of these.
Little strawberries and cream action. It sounds amazing. Have not had my hands on it yet, but we actually should be having some fun news with OGs coming up soon. Can't tell too much, but keeping that close to the chest. But
so I like doing the show with Max. You always get these you got the scoops there.
But yes, no, very excited. We love them, and I'm very excited to try that stuff. We literally have our all staff meeting today, and I like to give out monthly awards to like people who do the good ad reads, the good producing, and stuff like that. Nice. And I'm like, oh shoot, I got some OGs here. Bam, bam, bam.
There you go.
I'm the candy man. It's not candy though, but because you must be 21 years or older, and you can enjoy responsibly. Find it at ogsbrands.com. Find it near a dispensary near you.
That's true. Fresas con crema. I gotta try it, man.
That's right.
I'm gonna get my hands on it for sure.
So nice when you say it.
All right, cool. And then if you're into fantasy sports, we got Underdog Fantasy.
Oh yeah. Sorry if you're listening on audio. The Sun Devils guys do it all the time, and
I know we can't pull it off like them yet.
I listen. I know we haven't talked about Underdog on our podcast. It is so much fun, especially if you're into like how players are doing. That's what it is. It is a like player-based fantasy app where you can take picks on. For example, I have some games pulled up tomorrow. I'm gonna hit a couple with you.
Let's do it.
Real Madrid versus Valencia. Courtois, higher or lower than 2.5 saves?
Oh, higher.
Okay. Yeah. Karim Benzema, 3.5 shots attempted.
I'm gonna go lower on that one.
Okay. You said higher or lower for Courtois?
Higher for that one.
Okay. Vinicius Jr., 2.5 shots attempted.
Oh, higher, yeah.
Rodrigo, 2.5 shots attempted.
He hasn't been starting, so I'll go lower.
And Luka Modric, 1 shot attempted.
Yeah. Can I go higher on that?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
So that's the beauty. And like this is just all Madrid players. You can
that's how easy it is?
Yeah, it's easy. You can literally pick Valencia players. You can pick players from other games. Super easy. Literally, it's awesome. You can pick it's a pick 'em slip, anywhere from 2 to 5 different picks. If you do 2 picks, you can get 3 times your money. 20. If you do 5 picks, it's 10 times your money. But it's literally so easy to do. You just hit buttons. And literally just submit. But the best part is if you download UnderdogFantasy.com, go to UnderdogFantasy.com, or you can download the app from the description, sign up, use promo code PHNX, and it will match your first deposit up to $100. Woo. Super easy, super fun, and honestly, it has changed the way that I like watch and place money on soccer because I just enjoy following players, and I'm like, oh, you were 1 shot away, oh, you were 1 save away. Like it makes the game so much easier. Some of them, they have clearances you can put higher or lower on, passes, like it just makes it so much easier, and also it makes you watch the players a bit more closely, and you kind of get a bit more of like refinement for the sport. I really appreciate it.
That's good. Yeah. So if you haven't downloaded it, make sure to do so, and make sure to put down that deposit, man. $100. They'll match it up to that.
Match it up to $100.
Amazing deal. So make sure to check it out on. Make sure to download it on your phone. Underdog Fantasy. All right. We got some surprising news. Surprise news yesterday. Gareth Bale announcing his retirement from professional soccer / football. 33 years old. Did you think he was gonna retire?
Yeah, I did. Gareth Bale, if not more than any other player, he he's that type of guy who I'm here for a good time, not a long time. And that man was here for a good time. I mean, I think, I don't know, when you look at his career, injuries kind of robbed him sometimes of that consistency. Yeah. But my word, if you're talking about who is a clutch player, a guy who every single team he's gone to has performed, has won trophies, has often been one of, if not the best players on the pitch. Mm-hmm. He is a legend of this game. And I understand he'll never, people aren't going to compare him to the Messis or the Ronaldos, even the, I guess, tiers like a Modric or a Neymar. Like, I get that. I totally understand that's fair. But I mean, just for the entertainment value, just for those notable plays. I mean, the Bicicleta in the Champions League final against Liverpool, yeah. That run against Barcelona in the Copa del Rey, even in his last club game where he scores the game winner for LAFC or to equalize. Like, it is nuts. It is so nuts just how many moments he's been in where more than a lot of other players, it's like he's produced moments, and you don't get players like that all the time. Yeah.
When you look at the scope of what he's done, I know he's retiring at 33, but we just saw it in Qatar. He helped Wales get back into a World Cup after, over 50 years. And he scores in the World Cup, and there's only so much one man can do. I know. I say I get too low. But this man is a symbol of how great, I'm trying to rephrase it here, how big of a figure he was for soccer. That, he came up through Tottenham, he went to Real Madrid, and he got his country into the World Cup after so many years, scores there, UCL winner, MLS, Cup champion. It's insane how many accolades this guy has. And only at 33 he retired. It's insane.
And not just that, he started out as a true left back and worked his way up to one of the best wingers in the world when he was on. Like, he commanded that outrageously large transfer fee from Real Madrid, and it was every bit deserved. It's on his day. It was you can put him on par with Ronaldo. I feel like on incredible. His absolutely incredible. And I also find it incredibly ironic that we were talking about Gareth Bale's retirement and Owen's not on the show.
Come on, man. Should have put in like a video, like a 2-minute video from there or something. Man. But yeah, Gareth Bale, enjoy your golfing. I'm sure you're gonna be doing a lot of that. but yeah, he had a contract with LAFC until June. But obviously that's now done. I expected him to at least play one more season.
And I think I might be butchering this, but I thought I saw a quote from LAFC's GM being like, "Hey, we expect him at training camp," and like kind of a bit of surprise. And I mean,
literally Gareth Bale fashion. Hey man, I'm retiring.
The guy goes out on top. Honestly.
He did everything. Yeah. What else can you do?
Yeah.
Exactly, for sure. So happy retirement, Gareth Bale. That pretty much wraps it up for us, Max. But before we wrap it up.
Oh, you're talking about golfing with Gareth Bale, yeah?
That's right.
Oh, that's a nice little transition you got there. Well, I mean, you're talking about what I'm wearing?
Yeah.
You think it looks good or you think it looks bad?
Dude, I'm always saying Bad Birdie looks like fly, man. I gotta get one of those hats and those polos, man. One of these I could wear for work, look fly.
It's like butter.
Look at that.
Yeah. Oh, man. No, Bad Birdie has got all the great stuff from head to, actually, I would say toe, because they do have, they have the polos. They actually have sweatpants, which I guess you could like wear near your feet. So like head to ankle. It doesn't have the right ring to it. But they have all kinds of great stuff on their website. And if you use the promo code PHNX_sports15, you get 15% off at badbirdiegolf.com. We really appreciate it. That supports us. I know my man Bobby, he's rocking the Bad Birdie because we did a little, hey, he tweeted at me with his swag. I matched him, yes, so much fun. We love their stuff. Please, if you want to upgrade your wardrobe, check out Bad Birdie.
That's right. That's right. And they got menswear and women's wear.
Yes, they do.
For both.
They do. And a variety of styles. Like, it looks very nice. Very comfortable.
For sure. Yeah, Tee Party coming up this weekend.
I'll be wearing wearing my Bad Birdie there. It is Friday. Woo! That's crazy. Oh my gosh, it's on Friday. We are doing last 24 hours, because even though it's on Friday, you got 24 hours to purchase your tickets. We have so many fun things coming up. It's going to be a Suns watch party against the Timberwolves. So you got the Suns there. Come on out. You got the driving range. We're going to have free food. Our friends at Chop Shop and Mountain Mike's Pizza are there with free food.
Yo.
Four Peaks is going to be there with some free samples. Literally, there's going to be free merch from OGs. Like I just said, free 3 times. Plus, another free thing, they are literally giving you a bucket of balls on the house plus range time that equates to $35. And I'm no mathematician, but if it costs $36 per person and you're getting $35 in free stuff, not even including all of the food and drink, that's like $1 that you're actually having to spend.
It's an insane deal.
That's pretty darn good. You get a foursome, that's $30 a person. Come out with your friends or by yourself. And if you come by yourself, that's okay because we will have friends that you can talk to, like me, like Ramon, like everyone else here at PHNX. So please come join us. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to have contests, prizes, everything like that. Like, it's just a darn good time. It's on a Friday night. We're going to have heaters. They got hot chocolate if you're a little cold, a little chilly. It's going to be so much fun. That's on Friday, this Friday, the 13th. That's kind of spooky, but you know what's not spooky? Wow, you like that? It's going to be the link in the chat and in our description where you can get your tickets. Again, last 24 hours. We end it tomorrow. Do it now.
That's right. That's right. It's going to be a great time. Man, and the prices got a little bit lower too, right? So we want you to be there. So take advantage of that. 24 hours, the clock is ticking. Make sure to click on that link, and we will see you there on Friday. It's going to be a great time. All right, y'all. That wraps it up. I know Leah has to watch the Coyotes. They're starting pretty soon. But yeah, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you to everybody that watched us today. And if you were active in the comment section, special shout out for you. Thank you so much for joining us. Michael, we got Jose. We got some pugs, apparently.
Pugs and hugs.
And hugs. I forgot about that.
With a little dog emoji as we were talking about underdog. Woo! Woo! Love it.
And BJ, yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. We will be back next week on Tuesday. And I think Owen will be back. Maybe.
You know what? See. If you tweet it, I always like to say, if you tweet at him enough, something...
He'll switch his flight for you. He'll switch his flight if you guys want him here on Tuesday. I'm just kidding. Go ahead and tweet him that. See what happens. All right, y'all. That's it from us here. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next week. Take care. Have a great night.